Hey, welcome to Principals on the Come Up, where we transform schools into hallelujah success stories. Tonight, we're going to be talking about something that's near and dear to all of us who are in education, and that is why Black teachers are walking away. And we're going to be talking about 3 ways that we can stop Black teachers from walking away. Now, have you ever thought about it? Have you, principal, thought about it? Teachers, have you thought about walking away? Are you the person in the school where everybody goes to because of discipline, because of children of color, and you're the designated person? Have you ever said, I have enough? I just have enough. So if you are in an environment where you are not recognized for your ability, then this is for you. If you are getting little subtle signs from people around you on your campus that kind of says that, you're just not the top one around here. And if you are the one who has to code switch, this is for you. And for those of you who don't know about code switching means that I am not acceptable in my Black self. My hair is not acceptable. I have to switch to the white code to be acceptable. The way I talk to you versus how I talk to my friends is different. I'm code switching. And if no one understands on your campus how you feel, then this is for you. Hi, my name is Dr. Barbara Polk, and I am known as a turnaround principal. I was chosen by the Harvard School of Education to go into the Institute for schools that have turnaround issues. I was chosen by the Texas Education Agency to go into low-performing schools and turn those schools around based upon the kind of success I had in my schools. So before we get started on that, I'm going to ask you to do 2 things. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to ask you to hit that share button 3 times. And I'm going to ask you to hit that like button 3 times, because you you have some colleagues who need to hear this. And let me give you just some backstory. The reason this was even brought up, well, first of all, was because of research. And then secondly, on an interview, I had an interviewer to ask me about her colleagues who were saying that when they get into school environments where they are not, they're in the true minority, that they just don't feel comfortable. They may be the smartest thing, they may be the sharpest tack in the box, but they just don't feel comfortable. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. But before we get started on that, I am so excited because we're going to have some free training. That's right, free training. We're going to have free training next Thursday night at 7 p.m. And what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about something that is near and dear to everyone, and that is student engagement. Now, through surveys, I have asked all of my members of Principals on the Come Up, and I've asked other principals and teachers, what is something that you want to talk about? And that is student engagement. Student engagement, what does it look like? What does it look like to teachers? What does it look like to students? What does it look like to you, principal? That's what we're going to be talking about. So be on the lookout this week. We're going to be sending out the invitations for you to participate in our Zoom, where we will be doing our training on student engagement. Now, let's look at ways that we can stop Black teachers from walking away. Well, first of all, just as a brief some brief historical facts. Back during Brown versus Board of Education, They shut down a lot of our Black schools. And when they shut down a lot of our Black schools, that meant that we lost a lot of our Black teachers. That's where it started happening. And then we started not only shutting down our Black schools, but we would merge our schools, merge our Black schools and our white schools. And of course, in those situations, we lost some Black teachers. And because of racial inequity, our Black teachers just kind of fell by the wayside. And there is research right now that shows 80% of the teachers who are in our schools in the United States identify themselves as white. And the other percentage, especially our Black teachers, we're looking at 7%. Looking at 7% of our teachers who are Black. And we cannot afford for those teachers to walk away. So what is it? What is it that's making our teachers walk away? Well, let's give a few little examples. And it's called microaggression. Microaggression, that's what the research says. Microaggression. So what does microaggression look like? Well, it looks something like you are the chair of the mathematics department and you have been designated to meet with the parents. And the parent comes in and meets you and they say, oh, you're the chair of the math department? Well, I was expecting someone else. Microaggression. Or what about, I have a problem with this teacher, this Black teacher who's teaching my child math or science. And I'm not familiar with the school he graduated from. Where did he graduate? Microaggression. Or your competence is being questioned. I'm just not sure that you're the right person to be teaching my child math or science. Microaggression. Or let's say if you are in a faculty meeting and your principal is giving you some specific directives and there's some clarification that needs to be made. And you, being assertive, you raise your hand and you say, I think that, that's an issue that needs to be addressed. Oh, but your assertiveness is considered aggression. Oh my goodness. All I did was ask a question. Assertiveness is taken as aggression. Or let's talk about the invisible tax that our Black teachers have in our schools today, where they are the person that's designated as the one who takes care of the discipline for our children of color. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. So those are some of the feelings that the research is saying that's impacting our teachers, impacting our Black teachers, and they are walking away. They're walking away. They're pretty much saying, I'm smart. I have a passion for teaching, but I just cannot continue to take this. I cannot continue to take the microaggression. So what can you do as the principal? What can you do? The first thing you can do is to assist in adopting proactive hiring practices. Now, if you are in a school of color, or if you are in a low-income school, or if you are in a school where the majority of the teachers do not look like the children in the school, then we need to do some proactive hiring. When the advertisement is done and you get your applicants in, and when you and your team look at the applicants, you are going to have to be proactive, meaning that you are going to have to be sensitive to the needs of your campus, sensitive to the teachers' needs on your campus. Hiring practices. So get with your HR department. explain to your HR department that you do want to hire teachers who are sensitive to the needs of your community, and that will make a difference. That's something that you can do, principals. The second thing is to have professional support. When you are doing your assigning of committees, when you are meeting with your community, when you are assigning teachers to different programs, have professional support. Make sure you can read into what's happening with your teachers. Make sure you have an open door to discuss these kinds of things that will make your teachers feel uncomfortable. And there's something else too that that principals have been sharing with me, and that is we have a lot of our principals of color who have been assigned to schools where the majority of the faculty is part of an old school. The demographics have changed, but the teachers have not changed. The majority of the teachers on the campus are not teachers of color, but they're trying to address these children of color the way they addressed children when they started teaching 15 or 20 years ago, when the majority of the student body was white and the demographics have changed. So that principal also has to give his teachers that professional support. That's just so important. Those are the kinds of things that as we start bringing our teachers of color in with our teachers who are not of color, we have to have some professional support. The other thing, principals, is let's have some multicultural curriculum. Now, I know that the curriculum on your campus, first of all, we know that you have state standards. But at the same time, when you're looking at your books, when you're looking at the resources in order to teach those standards, when you are writing stories, when you are looking at pictures, when you are giving examples, we have to have some multicultural curriculum. And that has to be a priority. We have to be sensitive to that if we want to stop our Black teachers from walking away. And if we don't stop our Black teachers from walking away, it will be a travesty. And it is incumbent upon us to make sure that our Black teachers are hired proactively, that they get professional support, and that there's multicultural curriculum. And the last thing, and it's the most important thing, and we have been talking about this for the past several weeks, and that is cultural competence. That is cultural competence. And we said, in order to have cultural competence, the first thing we need to do is talk about it without being insensitive to the needs of others. We have to talk about it. We have to share experiences. If you are a Black teacher, share your experiences. If you are a white teacher, share your experiences. If you're Asian, if you're Indian, if you're Pacific Islander, share your experiences. So let's just kind of do a recap. First of all, we said hit that share button and hit that like button. Do it 3 times because this is some good information, y'all. This is some good information. So we talked about ways that we can stop our Black teachers from walking away. And the first thing is to adopt practices of hiring that are proactive, that you really, really just are hiring people. And I know, if you are in a school district of color, if you are in a school district where your students are rural or your students are low income, yes, it's a job. It's a job. A lot of you say, I just have to take whoever I can get. And we did have that long explanation about how important it is for us to take care of our permanent substitutes, because lots of times that's who is in our classrooms teaching our students. We're talking about professional support. We're talking about multicultural curriculum. Don't just talk the talk, walk the walk principles. Look for that, talk about it. And we're talking about cultural competence workshops. Cultural competence workshops. We're talking about our Black teachers walking away because of microaggressions. Microaggressions makes me feel less than. It makes me feel as though I have to code switch. It makes me feel that I'm not being recognized except for helping with discipline. It makes me feel that my assertiveness is taken as aggression. Those are the things that you can be aware of to stop your Black teachers from walking away. And lastly, we said, remember, next Thursday at 7 p.m., we are going to have our free Zoom training on student environment. So as we close today, we want to say thank you. We appreciate you coming in every Thursday and talking and listening, making comments. Your support of our group, Principals on the Come Up. You can go to Principals on the Come Up. You can invite your friends to Principal on the Come Up so that they can participate and be a part of our community of teachers and principals who transform schools into hallelujah success stories. Thank you for today, and we will see you on next Monday at 5 p.m., where we are Principals on the Come Up. Bye.